We're back with Toronto Mayoral Candidate Faith Goldy. This is our final part, and before we get into the other next final bread and butter issues, I want to do a very quick lightning round with you.
All right, let's do it.
That sounds fun. That's very fun. So, Faith, first of all, what's your favorite color?
Orange.
Orange?
Always has been, always will be.
Yeah? Okay. What kind of music do you listen to?
Ooh, that's difficult. Everything from metal to country.
Really?
Classical. I enjoy it all. That sounds strange, but it depends what mood you're in. It's like, what kind of books do you read?
Right.
Well, it depends.
Is there any kind of music you don't like, maybe?
I'm trying to think. Not that I can think of off the bat.
So just really anything.
I don't like a lot of rap, to be honest.
Right.
I think today's rap is like.
I like the older rap.
Ski,
80s.
like
yeah. I like 80s.
I don't know
Ice Cube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
LL.
I used to listen to Immortal Technique and NWA.
Oh wow, because you're an 80s girl though, so you know.
Let's not date her too much. Let's not get too much. Let's not dig into the dates too much.
Okay,
you know?
I won't go there. I'll just say okay. Hey, there's nothing wrong. Okay. What are your ethnic backgrounds?
I'm Greek and Ukrainian background.
Okay. Have you ever been to Greece?
Yes, I have. I actually speak the language quasi fluently.
Okay.
Semi. I can fake it till I make it, basically.
Okay. Siblings. Do you have any siblings?
One younger sister.
Oh, okay. 2 girls. Great.
Yeah. She's got kids. She works hard. She's a wonderful, wonderful, good Christian girl.
Okay. A little personal, but I hope you don't mind.
That's
Are you seeing anyone?
I'm engaged to be wed December of this year.
Very
Yes.
much. My congratulations to you.
Regrettably, I've been spending a lot more time on the mayoral campaign than, I don't know, doing things like picking a dress. But
well, hopefully he doesn't mind, you know what I mean?
He doesn't. He gets it. I'm always, trying to save the world.
Right, definitely. And you were born in Toronto, right?
That's correct, yes. And I went to school here throughout my entire life, save 8 months at Western Ontario.
Okay, and you've always lived in Toronto? Or?
Correct.
Okay, Etobicoke? Or?
Midtown. I know, I give off the Etobicoke vibe. All of my co-curriculars were in Etobicoke.
Right? You can tell if it's Etobicoke or Scarborough. I can always tell.
Yeah, so I did Ukrainian dancing, swimming, everything, diving in Etobicoke, but I was always raised in Midtown. And then a quick stint at around Bloor and Dufferin area where I lived with my grandparents for a little while.
Have you ever voted for a party other than a conservative party?
Yes.
Oh. Mind telling or no?
I voted for Joe Pantalone when I could have voted for Rob Ford. My entire campaign staff that you can't see right now are wide-eyed. Yes, folks, I used to be a Marxist. I used to wear ponchos and braids and say things like free abortions on demand and keep your rosaries out of my ovaries. That was me on a lot of brainwashing in the socialist infrastructure that we now have, i.e. the academic pulpit and the mainstream media. But then, as the old adage goes, if you're not liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart, and if you're not conservative when you're older, you don't have a brain. Well, luckily, I started to grow a brain through free speech and critical thinking once I entered university.
I think the Arana Nation just made some news. That is incredible.
Faith Goldy, Joe Pants supporter.
Can you imagine that? Now, very quickly, what do you think about the massive amount of condos growing in the skyline of Toronto?
Hate them.
Same here. Oh my gosh. Amen.
It's Agenda 21, glass coffins in the sky. Yeah. It does not inspire the heart or the mind of individuals within this great city. And I will say this, part of my platform is to bring architectural standards to Toronto for all new builds. Can I tell you my I Have a Dream for Toronto speech here?
Go ahead.
If you look at Chicago, what they have is something called the Chicago School of Architecture. They worked with 3 to 5 young budding architects and basically said, here's your thread, here's your thread, here's your thread. Go weave it throughout our city. And what you see is these common threads of, okay, this architect here, that architect there. I would love to work with the young people at our architectural schools here in Toronto, U of T, Ryerson, etc., and say, all right, give me what you got. What's your plan for Toronto?
Well, there you go, Arts Vote. You said that Faith Goldy didn't have any arts in her platform. You just heard it right here. What's the deal?
Amen.
Very quickly, how would you balance the budget of Toronto?
Well, luckily for Toronto, I mean, municipalities can't really run deficits, so
Sure.
we're basically bound by our own legislative limitations, which I'm very comfortable about. Look, at the end of the day, the Faith Goldy mayoralship of Toronto is me putting money back in your pockets, because I believe that every single taxpayer knows how to spend their money better than the government does. We're going to be doing a line-by-line audit of every single dollar and cent that we spend within this city, and I'll tell you right now, we're going to be able to sniff out all the fat, all the vanity projects, and we're going to get rid of all of them.
70% thing. That's a big thing.
So we're going to get rid of all of that, okay? It's going to be like Rob Ford in a miniskirt, baby.
But then how are you going to do that with all those councillors? You know, a lot of them, Rob Ford, they hated Rob Ford. They really, how are you going to be able to convince those councillors, many of them who think you're the Hitler, you're this or that, how are you going to convince them?
I'll tell you right now, we have already begun lobbying some of these councillors. Okay. Don't forget, we're in the middle of an election for these guys too, and there are a lot of right-wing and just right-minded candidates that are now running. There is a zeitgeist. It depends where you go. Of course, Memelidi and Mark Grimes these are old school Toronto Nation guys. Yeah. Moby, I can't remember his last name right now. He's running. There are a whole bunch of them. You know what? Maybe what we'll do is put on our website.
Yeah,
some
you
of
should,
the people
because people don't know.
Yeah, people who I think are on the right path for Toronto. Yeah. They don't need to endorse us.
They don't need to. Yeah, because they're going to be like, oh no.
Yes, absolutely. But we've met a lot of people because we've been canvassing so much. We see a lot of these guys at similar events, and they say, "I'm secretly voting for you," etc. I say, "Great. I look forward to working with you." There is a zeitgeist that is now sweeping, frankly, all of the Western world that says, we tried it the socialists' way. Yeah, it's not working. So that's why you're seeing these rising anti-establishment candidates that are now coming out of the woodwork. So I'm very excited. I think this is going to be one of the most significant elections in Toronto's history since the ROFO days. And that's not going to start and end with the mayor's office, but also with the 25 wards for our councillors.
Very quickly, another personal, but you don't have to answer if you don't want to. What's your opinion on Maxime Bernier?
Look, a great guy, very grounded. I think we have a lot of similar ideas when it comes to the efficacy and strategy of going forward and how they might split the vote. Obviously, I have a lot of questions, yes. but that is... his actions are a symptom, not the cause of the real problem.
Yes.
One of the most basic parts of negotiating and team building is if you have a guy in number 2, you as number 1 have to acquiesce some ground so he stays and brings his entire camp in with you. So what I mean by that is that Andrew Scheer should have frankly acquiesced some ground to the Bernier camp. Now, what Scheer could do to effectively combat Bernier would be to run some nationalist kind of immigration skeptic candidates to kind of poach some of Bernier's guys. I don't think he has the cojones to do that.
See, because I was a bit worried, and I've made videos, actually, a bit passionate videos, against this whole Maxime Bernier new party thing. I think what he should have done was try to fight from the inside. But okay, I'm not the one deciding. However, I do agree with what you said in regards to Andrew Scheer and how he can fight this. But I also agree as well that, I don't know, maybe he's too establishment for that, but we'll see.
I don't think that the problem is so much Scheer. It is, as it is so often of the case, his advisors. They're all beta boys.
I think so.
They're all beta boys. Yeah. These are not winners. These are not aggressive men. These are men who are comfortable with kind of snaking their way up the middle to gaining the helm of the federal party. These are not guys who think strategically in the sort of way that is needed to combat the Machiavellian Saul Alinskyism of Gerald Butts. So that's a problem not just for the Conservative Party, but for all Canadians who are looking for a change in Parliament in the upcoming election.
Very quickly, I got a few more lightning questions for you. What kind of sports do you like, and have you ever played any sports?
Oh, yeah, I was hugely into just all sorts of athleticism. So I was a rower, captain of the rowing team, a swimmer, back and fly were my IM medley, all of my different strokes there. I did high diving as well from the 50-meter board as well.
Yeah, you kind of come across as a swimming type of person.
Yeah, so I'm big into water sports. So rowing, swimming, diving, and I did a little bit of sailing as well. And then besides that, I did the whole gambit of everything from softball to soccer. What I like watching, I still love watching rowing. If you've ever been in a boat, then you know the feeling. When I hear the the blades kind of just going back and forth in and out of the catch. Like, it makes me feel like I'm back on the water. I love that. I love watching diving still. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful sport. I'm all about it. And one of the things actually I have not yet announced, but it's like a bit of a meme, but I'm not actually anything but very serious about it. I want to dedicate basically a month of Toronto to the fitness and health of our city. And I'll tell you what, we've got Gay Pride Month, we've got Black History Month, we've got all these different sorts of months. Why don't we have a month where all of us as a city start thinking about, just making personal, better life choices? Things like, hey, you know what? I could take the bus to the station, or I could take the 10-minute walk. You know what I mean? These sorts of simple things where we're not going to spend any money, doing it. But when any of our guys are up on the radio, hey, everyone, just remember, and I'll do stuff like, public, whether it be like a fat percentage, whatever, weigh-in or whatever it is, just something to get people motivated, because this is the sort of thing I think that's really integral to a healthy society. Healthy societies are made up of what? Healthy families. And healthy families are made up of what? Healthy individuals. And so we need to all be taking care of ourselves.
Very quickly, and then I'm going to wrap this up.
Let's do it.
LGBT friendly? Only ask because the city of Toronto's got a lot of that. Now, I'm one of those people who say, I don't care about your personal lifestyle as long as you don't try and drag me into it. But a lot of people might want to know. Right. So what are your views? Honest views.
Right. So we've got members of that particular community working with and backing our campaign. They might say, hey, we don't agree on everything, but we do agree on what the right path forward is for Toronto. At the end of the day, look, we have an entire month in which we celebrate people of this particular persuasion in this city. We're not looking to clamp down on that. What we are looking to do, though, is defund uninclusive parades.
Right.
I think a lot of Torontonians...
talking about the police being outed from the gay pride.
Yes,
you don't like
that's not the sort of Toronto that we want to build. The same way if there was a Toronto police march, if they said that no homosexuals or gay people were allowed there, I'd have an issue with that too. That's not inclusive. That's not the way that we should be running our city.
So Faith Goldy is not going to lock up people just because they're gay. Just remember that.
No.
Okay, Faith, in the final minutes we have, just maybe 2 minutes, talk to the people of Toronto. Say what you want to say.
Well, look, I've lived in this city since, I was born here. And for the past 3 decades, I have watched it become more and more unrecognizable to me. This is a city that I'm very serious about wanting to raise my children in. But there's a real issue when our kids are getting shot by stray bullets inside our parks. Kids and animals are stumbling across needles within our parks. And folks are getting shot at Yorkdale Mall, at Coronation Park, at the Danforth. The issues of this city's skyrocketing crime have now become, I think, too close to home for all of us. And that's why I'm the only candidate who is talking about the issue that I think is really on the top of mind for all Torontonians. Recent polling showed that over 50% of us are now afraid of becoming victims to gun violence. Over 50% of us are now avoiding going to large crowds in public spaces. That's not the Toronto I remember growing up. I remember being that meme from the Michael Flint videos where we didn't lock our doors. My mom used to leave her purse inside her car. That's not the Toronto that we have right now. And why? It's because of weak leadership at the top. Toronto cannot afford another 4 years of weak leadership, one that sees our police men and women handcuffed while the bad guys are empowered, one that declares us to be a sanctuary city while our own homeless are left in our tent cities and really just to fester at the gutters of our societies. I want to bring a Toronto first mentality back to this city. And I know a lot has been made about diversity being our strength in this city. It's indeed our motto. But I would argue that it's not diversity that's our strength, but unity that is our strength. And what I have seen going door to door, we've pounded on thousands of doors across this great city so far. There's another 20-some days left. Black Torontonians, what they want is safer streets. Chinese Torontonians, they want safer streets. Eastern European Torontonians, they want safer streets. All of us are coming together around my tough on crime, easy on taxpayer message. So if you want a Toronto that puts public safety above political correctness, then there is only one candidate for mayor, and that's Faith Goldy. And I hope that you will come out to the ballot box on October 22nd, because there's a mainstream media blackout. The political establishment is shook. They don't want to get our message out. Well, then I'd urge you not just to come out and vote for us, but bring 2, 3, 4, 5 family and friends out to do the exact same. Thanks so much. And I love you, Michael. Thanks for giving me a platform here today.
And I'm telling you, right now, the Arana Nation is endorsing Faith Goldy.
I'm so
Thank you.
humbled. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Michael.
very much.
God love you, my friend. Thank you.
This is the Arana